GutPunched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers. Navigating the insidious illness of Alzheimer's is something nobody asks for. The disease sneaks up on you and your loved one, and it feels like you've been sucker punched in the gut. Then you ask, where do we turn for help? Who do we call? What do we do? These questions and more are what we hope to answer and give you some direction and hope. Now let's join our host, Jeff Edwards.
Greetings and welcome. Here we are again, GutPunched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers. This is episode 31, or Countdown to the Election Chaos. And please make sure you vote. Hope you had a good week. Hope things are going well. While looking for something else, I came across what I think was a very good piece on caregiver stress and burnout, signs and symptoms, and some ideas on how to cope with them. And then we'll take another snapshot look at the guide program as we're prepping for an interview with Dr. Adam Perry from the Healthspan Partners, which should happen within the next 2 weeks, and we're going to get really in-depth with that. This guide program is a new and unique program for caregivers and their partners. And we'll also update you on some of the Walk for Alzheimer's locations for the next few weeks. Okay, what are the 3 rules or suggestions we follow here at GutPunched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers? 1, you have to take care of yourself because if something happens to you, who's going to take care of your loved one? You can't do it alone. You need help. Find good caregiver groups or network with friends and relatives. And 3, make a list of people, friends, relatives, coworkers who had offered to help you in time of need. And then make a list of things you need done but can't do yourself because caregiving duties are overwhelming. Use the lists, start at the top, and keep going until you get what you need done, and you'll find it very helpful. Okay, the following information is going to come from helpguide.org and written by Melinda Smith, and it ties in nicely with what the 3 rules we follow are: caregiver stress and burnout. The demands of caregiving can be exhausting and overwhelming. But there are steps you can take to rein in stress and regain a sense of balance, joy, and hope in your life. This is by Melinda Smith, last updated or reviewed on February 5th, 2024. What is caregiver burnout? While caring for a loved one can be very rewarding, it also involves many stressors. Since caregiving is often a long-term challenge, the emotional impact can snowball over time. You may face years or even decades of caregiving responsibilities. It can be particularly disheartening if you feel that you're in over your head, if there's no hope that your family member will get better, or if, despite your best efforts, their condition is gradually deteriorating. Now, if the stress of caregiving is left unchecked, it can take a toll on your health, relationships, and state of mind, eventually leading to burnout, a state of emotional, mental, and physical exhaustion. And when you get to that point, both you and the person you're caring for suffer. That's why taking care of yourself isn't a luxury. It's a necessity. Cultivating your own emotional and physical well-being is just as important as making sure your family member gets to their doctor's appointment or takes their medication on time. Now, generally, stress can feel overwhelming, but burnout feels more like chronic exhaustion. Once you reach burnout, you might progress from saying things like, I have too much on my plate, to I'm done. I understand that completely. Signs and symptoms of a caregiver stress and burnout. Now, learning to recognize the signs of a caregiver stress and burnout is important so you can take immediate action to prevent things from becoming worse and start improving the situation for both you and the person you're caring for. Now, here are some of the common signs of the burnout: anxiety, depression, irritability, feeling tired and run down, difficulty sleeping, overreacting to minor nuisances, new or worsening health problems, trouble concentrating, feeling increasingly resentful, drinking, smoking, or eating more, neglecting responsibilities, and cutting back on leisure activities. Now, common signs and symptoms of the burnout of a caregiver: you have much less energy than you once had. It seems like you catch every cold or bout of flu that's going around. You're constantly exhausted even after sleeping or taking a break. You neglect your own needs either because you're too busy or you don't care anymore. Your life revolves around caregiving, but it gives you little satisfaction. You have trouble relaxing even when help is available. You're increasingly impatient and irritable with the person you're caring for, and you feel helpless and hopeless. So how do you cope? Well, while caring for a loved one will never be stress-free, the following tips can help you lighten the load, avoid the symptoms of caregiver burnout, and find more balance in your life. Feeling powerless is the number one contributor to burnout and depression, and it's an easy trap to fall into as a caregiver, especially if you feel stuck in a role you didn't expect or helpless to change things for the better. But no matter the situation, you aren't powerless. This is especially true when it comes to your state of mind. You can't always get the extra time, money, or physical assistance you'd like, but you can always get more happiness and hope. Practice acceptance. So when faced with unfairness of a loved one's illness or the burden of caregiving, there's often a need to make sense of the situation and ask why. But you can spend a tremendous amount of energy dwelling on things you can't change and for which there are no clear answers. At the end of the day, you won't feel any better. So try to avoid the emotional trap of feeling sorry for yourself or searching for someone to blame. Embrace your caregiving choice. Acknowledge that despite any resentments or burdens you feel, you have made a conscious choice to provide care. Focus on the positive reasons behind that choice. Perhaps you provide care to repay your parent for the care they gave you growing up. Or maybe it's because your values or the example you want to set for your children. These deep, meaningful motivations can help sustain you through difficult times. Take an organized approach. As a caregiver, you might be responsible for keeping track of important medical and legal papers, medications, and appointment dates. When items get lost or dates get mixed up, feelings of powerlessness can quickly creep in. Use binders to organize paper documents and folders on your computer to maintain digital information. A calendar or planner can help you remember when it's time for doctor visits and prescription refills. Look for the silver lining. Think about the ways caregiving has made you stronger and how it's brought you closer to the person you're taking care of or to other family members. Don't let caregiving take over your life. Since it's easier to accept a difficult situation when there are other areas of your life that are rewarding, it's important not to let caregiving take over your whole existence. Invest in things that give you meaning and purpose, whether it's your family, church, a favorite hobby, or your career. Focus on the things you can control. You can't wish for more hours in the day or force your brother to help you out more. Rather than stressing out over things you can't control, focus on how you choose to react to problems. Break big tasks down into manageable chunks. Thinking about all the caregiving tasks you need to complete this week, for example, can make you feel overwhelmed or uncertain about where to start. Instead, make a to-do list for each day and begin to work through it one task at a time. And celebrate small victories. If you start to feel discouraged, remind yourself that all your efforts matter. You don't have to cure your loved one's illness to make a difference. Don't underestimate the importance of making your loved one feel more safe, comfortable, and loved. And feeling appreciated can go a long way toward not only accepting a stressful situation, but enjoying life more. Studies show that caregivers who feel appreciated experience greater physical and emotional health. Caregiving actually makes them happier and healthier despite its demands. But what can you do if the person you're caring for is no longer able to feel or show their appreciation for your time and efforts? Imagine how your loved one would respond if they were healthy, if they weren't preoccupied with illness or pain or disabled by dementia. How would your loved one feel about the love and care you're giving? Remind yourself that the person would express gratitude if they were able. And applaud your own efforts. If you're not getting external validation, find ways to acknowledge and reward yourself. Remind yourself of how much you are helping, and if you need something more concrete, try to make a list of all the ways your caregiving is making the difference. Refer back to it when you start to feel low. Now, a lot of these things kind of tie in with things that we talk about, our rules. It touches on each of the three. Another thing is to talk to a supportive family member or friend. Positive reinforcement doesn't have to come from the person you're caring for. When you're feeling unappreciated, turn to friends and families who will listen to you and acknowledge your effort. So there you go. Some tips in helping with burnout and stress in caregiving.
We'll be right back to GutPunched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers.
My grandmother had Alzheimer's, and I remember we were all in the hospital room, and for like 10 seconds she recognized who we were, and then it was gone. So it's like a thief. It's taking away memories and who you are as a person. Over 5.5 million Americans have Alzheimer's. That number may double by 2050. For more information, visit rightfocus.org.
This is GutPunched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers.
In our last episode, we introduced you to The Guide, a program established by the government, and the model aims to address the key drivers of poor quality dementia care in 5 ways. 1, defining a standardized approach to dementia care delivery for model participants. Now, this includes staffing considerations, services for people with dementia, and their unpaid caregivers and quality standards. And number 2, providing an alternative payment methodology to model participants. The CMS provides a monthly per beneficiary payment to support a team-based collaborative care approach. Number 3, addressing unpaid caregiver needs. The model aims to address the burden experienced by unpaid caregivers by requiring model participants to provide caregiver training and support services, including 24/7 access to a support line, as well as connections to community-based providers. Number 4, respite services. CMS pays model participants for respite services, which are temporary services provided to a beneficiary in their home, at an adult daycare center, or at a facility that can provide 24-hour care for the purpose of giving the unpaid caregiver temporary breaks from their caregiving responsibilities. And number 5, screening for health-related social needs. Model participants are required to screen beneficiaries for psychosocial needs and health-related social needs, and help navigate them to local community-based organizations to address these needs. Now, they have a health equity strategy. Delivering equitable care and addressing health disparities in dementia are crucial aspects of the Guide model. Dementia imposes significant financial, emotional, and logistical burdens on families, which are often exacerbated for certain racial and ethnic groups. Black and Hispanic populations have a higher prevalence of dementia, but also are less likely to receive a timely diagnosis, have more unmet needs, and are more likely to experience high caregiving demands and spend a higher share of their family assets on dementia care. Now, CMS actively sought out eligible organizations that provide care to underserved communities for participation in the Guide model. The Guide model offers a variety of financial and technical support to ensure that participating safety net providers can develop their infrastructure, improve their care delivery capabilities, and participate successfully in the model. Guide also includes a focus on people with dementia who are dually eligible for Medicare and Medicaid, and as with other people supported by the model, help them to remain safely in their homes for longer. The aspects of Guide designed to improve healthy equity include requiring participating providers to implement HRSN screenings and referrals, offering financial and technical support for development of new dementia care programs targeted to underserved areas with less access to specialty dementia care, and annual reporting by participants on progress towards health equity objectives, strategies, and targets, using data from the model to identify disparities and target improvement activities, and a health equity adjustment to the model's monthly care management payment to provide additional resources to care for underserved beneficiaries. So there's a lot to this program. And probably next week we'll be talking to Dr. Adam Perry, and he's in Southwest Florida. His company is involved with the Guide program. So you might want to listen for that.
We'll be right back to GutPunched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers.
Repeat after me. Apple, table, penny.
Apple, red.
When you tell people he has Alzheimer's, but he's in a clinical study, it's
not so hopeless.
Yeah.
Maybe. It's like, I hope we can just hang in there and maybe they'll find something,
Ask me again.
What season is it?
It's when all the leaves down and
I know it's there, but I can't get it.
Yeah.
And it just kills me.
I remember watching Dad interact with the kids and thinking, geez, in 5-6 years, will he even know who they are? 1 in 10 Americans over 65 has Alzheimer's disease. Learn more today at brightfocus.org.
This is GutPunched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers.
And don't forget, register today for Walk to End Alzheimer's. Together, we can end Alzheimer's disease. Find your 2024 walk. Go to alz.org. That's the Alzheimer's webpage. And on that, you'll see information. And it's held annually in more than 600 communities nationwide. Walk to End Alzheimer's is the world's largest event to raise awareness and funds for Alzheimer's care, support, and research. Register for your local walk. You can start or join a team and invite others to walk with you. Or you can start fundraising and sharing. The Alzheimer's Association makes it easy with tools like Facebook fundraisers and their ALZ fundraising app, and there's a lot more. Also, join us on Walk Day. Come together for an inspiring community event that celebrates our commitment to ending the disease. Coming up, walks near you: Boca Raton on November 10th, Davie, Florida, November 23rd, Daytona Beach, November 9th, Fort Myers, Florida, November 16th, Jacksonville, Florida, November 9th, Lakeland, Florida, December 7th, and Miami, Florida, November 16th. Well, our time today is coming to a close. We hope we were able to provide you with some helpful information. If you know someone who has a family member or friends who are dealing with a loved one who has Alzheimer's or any type of dementia, please let them know about this podcast. For more information, you can check out the Alzheimer's Support Network at https://alzsupport.org about us, or check out the Dubin Center at dubincenter.com. And to find your local chapter of the Alzheimer's Association, visit alz.org/local resources/find your local chapter. The website is gutpunched.com and the email address is gutpunchedac@outlook.com. Thanks for joining us, and please come back again for more. God bless.
This has been GutPunched, Alzheimer's and Caregivers, with your host, Jeff Edwards. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to us on all the platforms like Spotify, Apple, Pandora, and more. If you have a question or want to get in touch, our email is gutpunchedac@outlook.com.